Good evening. I'd like to read you a poem that I wrote about this horse that I broke back when I was in my early 20s. I broke a lot of horses. You know, every one of them have their own personality, and some of them turn out really good, and some of them don't. I had this sorrel colt. He was just a 2-year-old, super good. You could pick his feet up, you could trim him. I mean, just minimal amount of work. Put a saddle on him, went to riding him. And the son of a gun got cut up in the wire after I'd ridden him just a couple of times. And I ended up never able to ride him again. Had to keep him for a stud horse. Hadn't cut him yet, so I just kept him for a stud horse. But I had a half brother of his, and we named him Waylon. And he was a prettiest little strawberry roan, good conformation, nice little head. And that outlaw was like nothing that I've ever seen before and don't ever want to see again. And I was breaking him. This guy kept wanting to buy him from me. Well, I wasn't done breaking him yet. I was still working with him, put a lot of effort into him. By the end of the summer, I called that old boy up and I told him, I said, I'm done riding him. You know, we're shipping cattle for the fall, going into our winter season. If you still want that horse, I'll sell him to you. And he asked me that one question. He said, well, does he buck? I said, yeah, he bucks. When you first put a saddle on him, he'll be kind of tight for a little bit, but I said, he's just a 2-year-old. And once he gets it out of his system, well, he'll be all right for the rest of the day usually. He said, was he buck hard? I said, well, he's never taken me out of the seat, and that was not a lie. So here's this poem I wrote about old Waylon. Horse for sale. Does he buck? Well, he's a horse, can't you see? The question you should ask yourself is, can you ride as well as me? He's been known to have a cold back and pitch a time or two, but to unhinge me from the saddle, something he could never do. First time he ever broke in two, figured we'd both die before he got through. We were headed the direction of town below, and over the cliff he decided was the shortest way to go. He was bawling and bucking, I was screaming, we were both putting on a show. For 5 months I rode him and never did he stop. His head and rump would both fall off and leave me alone there at the top. Last time I rode him, we were gathering in the fall. I'd saddled up at 4 a.m. and in the dark was riding tall. He commenced a bucking blind. Old Roan again had lost his mind. Grandpa said the only way he knew where I was at is his hooves struck the rocks, the sparks they flew. I was holding tight and praying because that's all that I could do. Finally, at the bottom of the hill, the saddle horn and the swells struck the earth. I figured he'd land upon me, and I cursed the day of old Roan's birth. But what from the corner of my eye did I behold? Most don't believe me whenever the story's told. Old Roan I was sitting alone there on a pile of tack. Old Roan was naked, not even a bridle or a blanket on his back. He'd bucked so hard in all the heat, but unhinged me, heck no. I was still sitting on my saddle seat. You tell me that he's pretty. You ask me if I'd sell. Well, mister, if you got the cash, I guess maybe I can part from this demon sent from hell. I'm sure glad that they don't all come along like that horse. And I'm glad that I've learned a little bit since then and know when to cut my losses and send something like that down the road. Just because they're pretty, no, I ain't giving them a scholarship on their looks anymore. They got to have a brain to go with it. Y'all have a good day.